I'm Marco Stronati. I'm a student of computer science at the University of Pisa, and I'm here today to... Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. I'm here today to talk about marionnet, that is a virtual network laboratory for teaching purposes. Okay? Fine. And marionnet allows you to virtualize a network. That's why the name, because it allows you to play with the GNU Linux distribution like they were puppets, marionettes. It's really that easy. So let's see some major features. We got a nice and clean GUI that is really unique because there are a few projects of this kind with a GUI that I think is really important for students, especially for the first, second year students of university. And we have 100% real experience. I think that's really, I'm going to stress this because marionnet doesn't emulate the single network tools. So it doesn't emulate IF config or IP tables, etc. It just emulates a machine. So what you do with the machine is going to be valuable when you're going to work on the real world, on the real machine. It's just the same. So for students, it's really a good experience that we're going to use in life. And it is written entirely in OCaml, that is a strong type functional language that is really cool, although not famous. So if you want to talk about it, we can later. And of course, it's open source. So it is released under the GPL version 2 or later license. And here is the marionnet interface. As you can see here, I'm sorry I have to look, but I have to point. So here you can see on the center we have the network sketch that is always up-to-date image of the network topology. And on the left, we have these buttons that allow us to add devices. And, sorry. Okay, with that menu, we're allowed to add, remove, and modify devices, as well as boot, suspend, or stop them. And when, for example, we want to add a device, we're going to be presented with a menu like this, from which we can decide some sort of name or label. For example, for the machine, we have the amount of memory, the number of Ethernet interfaces, and the Linux distribution we want to use. As of now, we support only Debian, but in future, add another distribution is not difficult, so you're welcome if you want to do that. And let's talk a little bit about the other devices. We have machines and hub switches, routers and cables, both straightforward and crossover. And we have this little cloud that is a little particular. It represents an unknown network. So it can introduce some sort of delays, packet loss, packet duplication, but we're going to see them later. And my favorite is the last one, that is the gateway. It is, when you plug your virtual network to this word plug, you're going to plug it to your host machines. That means that you can connect the virtual network to a real network. That is really cool because from then on, you can, from the outside, from the real world, you're going to see the network as if it were real. So you can give services, etc. And on the other hand, from within the virtual network, you're going to use the internet. That means you can browse the web, or you can use the operating system. That means that in a matter of minutes, you can get your machine set up with your favorite software. That is really cool. And moreover, another nice trick is that you can connect a virtual network through the real network to another virtual network. I know it's tricky, but imagine the scenario. You have two students working on their virtual networks, and they can interact together to, I don't know, try some sort of attack or some sort of just client-server scenario. That's really fun for students. And let's see. Let's see what happens when you click the Tout démarrer button, that is the start up everything. You're going to see like 5,000 pop-ups windows that are going to look like this. You have an X-term for each machine, and you have this little LED interface for each network device. This is really nice because those LEDs that you see for each Ethernet port are non-functional. They're really going to blink each time a packet hits a network card. So it's really valuable feedback for what's going on in your network while it is running. And okay, here we have the anomalies tab that allows us for each device, for each port, both inward and outward, to control the defects we were talking earlier. So we have the control on the loss, the duplication, inverse bit, and delays. As you can see there, I made an example. I configured the two machines to ping each other. And you can see there is the DUP, that means there is a duplication. And in the bottom, you can see that we have 23% of packet loss and an average time that is roughly the same as I said before. So here we can really enrich the student experience with something that you don't really see often in real life. For example, I never saw a duplicate stuff like that. So it's really useful for students. Okay, moreover, we have the disk interface that allows you to, through the disk tree, to choose the snapshot of the machines that you prefer. For example, you can try different configuration file for your software, be it Apache or, I don't know, or a routing algorithm or whatever, and you can shut down a machine, boot it up, and see what changes. Well, and for those of you that really can't do without graphical application, we have that, because you can, from within a virtual machine, you can launch, for example, Wireshark, and it's going to use the X server of the host. So you can use your graphical application without any kind of trouble. That's really useful for students that maybe are not really comfortable with the terminal interface. Then we have the exam mode. The exam mode is really the only feature of Marionnet that is teaching specific. It allows you to present the students with some kind of exercise or test. And the cool thing is that when you stop the machines and the student save his project, in the machine we will trigger a script that saves some configuration file and its bash history file. That means that if you're a teacher, when you control and revise the exercises or the test, if the network is not working, as it is, maybe it's just because the student had bad luck with the configuration file, but he did a good job. So it can really help you to understand better how it works during the test. And well, now let's simply talk about, we presented a little of Marionnet, a good overview, I think, and let's see why it started. As you know, every good piece of software starts because to scratch a developer personal itch, and Jean-Vincent Lodot is the founder of the project and the main developer, the leader developer, and he started that because he is a teacher of computer networks and found some sort of problem while teaching his classes in laboratories. For example, hardware malfunctioning, although they can be interesting as we saw them, they always come up in wrong times, for example, during an exam. Or you have a long time to prepare to set up the network for the students. Very expensive hardware, for example, Cisco stuff is not really handy. The students have no way to test at home what they learned at lessons. They can't make some homework, for example. And exercises and tests are really hard to prepare and to revise after. Students will always be able to exercise all in a little network. You can't really have 50 nodes in your laboratory. And moreover, each student can practice only when they have access to the lab. That means only in certain times, and only few students at a time. All this stuff will disappear with Marionnet. I mean, in a matter of minutes, you can put up a network of 10 nodes and start to play with AP tables, and it's really, really easy. And it's going to be also fun. Let's see where it was. The project was done. It's been developed at the Lipner department of the University of Paris, where the servers now relies, and that support the project. We have it was done mainly. It was started in 2005, has an interface for the Netcat project, but it developed later in 2007 in the Marionnet that we know now, and especially it have in 6 months in the time in which Lucas Sayu joined the project, it boosted a lot. And in 2008 there was the Year of the Truth, because the DVD was released, the live DVD was released to like 200 students, so there was a major testing, and other UT that are kind of a university in France started to use the software, And so we got a lot of feedback. Right now, we're just cleaning up code and writing documentation and how-tos, but we also have some new ideas coming out. I personally am working on the developer documentation and the internationalization. As you saw, it's French only, so I'm not really doing a good job right now, but we had some major news last week, so I think in a couple of weeks we're going to have Marionnet in English, French, and Italian, and you're welcome to translate it in other languages as well. Okay, so I'm not one of the authors, I'm just a contributor. The two authors are Jean Salodot and Luca Saio. Both are strong advocates of functional programming, that's why OCaml, and of free software. Now let's see a little how does really Marionnet work under the hood. Marionnet takes advantages of a great number of free software projects that we love free software. For the machines, we use the UML, user mode Linux, and that allows us to emulate both machines and routers that are nothing more than machine with a Quagga software on it. And we have the VDA project that's from Renzo Davoli that is here today, and he is here at FOSDEM, and tomorrow he's going to give a lightning talk, so come and see him. And the VDA allows us to emulate cable, hubs, and switches, and implements also all the defects that we saw, the anomalies. Then there are the Marionnet network parts, that is the core, and that manage all the processes that we saw. So it manages both machines and cables. And there is the part of the GUI that is written in GTK plus for the interface and in the dot language for the network sketch that we saw. Let's see the cool stuff that Marionnet does. We have the dynamic reconfiguration. That's really unique. No other project of this kind allows you to dynamically reconfigure the networks. That means you can unplug, replug cables, routers, machines, shut down devices and start them up again, and you will see the networks evolve in front of you. That's really useful and really fun. And then, given the big number of processes that Marionnet brings up, we needed to manage all this stuff. So there is a manager of the concurrency of all these projects, and there is also a death monitor that check for a process if it dies or something like that, and Marionnet won't crash on you, so it's fault tolerant. Then we have the hardware defects in both port and wires, as we saw earlier. We have the gateway to connect to your host machine. We have the distribution choice, or at least we will. And we have the car plus parts file. I don't know if you are familiar with that. It allows you, basically, it allows us to save a lot of disk space because we are talking about files, GNU Linux distribution file system. That means 300 megabytes. It's not really lightweight. And it allows us also to make the snapshot that we saw earlier. Then we have full GNU Linux binary compatibility. That means that you're working on just a GNU Linux machine, so you can just run on it whatever you like. You can install whatever you like. And that's really useful also for testing your own projects, your software. Then we have the graphical application support, as we saw earlier. We have the GUI that allows you to set up the network. And once you started it, it allows you to have some feedback on what's going on. We have the exam mode, as we saw earlier. And we have the file format that is just a tar archive compressed that is back and forth compatible. And we have Pinocchio. That is a GNU Linux distribution of just 100 megabytes, so that's really short. It's cool. And what we see for the future, we are currently working on Debian packaging. That is almost done, although we have some problems because we have some really heavy stuff to package, for example, a file system, and we also rely on other software, so we're waiting for the development cycle of VDE, etc., so it's quite complicated. We're working on machine file system to make them even smaller, and I am working on internationalization, or at least I'm trying, and we are also in mind some advanced feature like VLAN and firewall, NAT, and DCP for routers. And we're also thinking of new devices, for example, an IP phone for SIP and stuff like that. So I'm done. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any question, just meet me right now. We have 5 minutes. If you have any question, we can go outside, and you can also try Marionnet if you wish. Unfortunately, you can't easily install it right now. There is a guide to compile it. It's really, really easy. So any question is welcome. Thank you.